So tonight I am going to be talking about resentments and why resentments help you or hinder your weight loss, or they can ensure that you put weight on. And, you know, a lot of people may realise that, may not realise it, may not realise the extent of it. But even if they do realise it, they don't really know what to do with them and how to recover from these resentments. So I thought, you know, I work a lot on my Bariatric Success Solution course with my clients, on resentments and fears and stress and things like that, because all of these things really do get in the way of our weight loss. So the best way I can start off talking about this is I see my happiness in life and my serenity, if you like, my peace and quiet and calm. It's like I've got this test tube. It's a test tube that's full of this, like, it's bright orange. I've no idea what's bright orange. Like this colour, look, my vitamins here, this colour, orange, of effervescent bubbles going up and down, a bit like Lucozade. That's what it is. It's like Lucozade, okay? Effervescent bubbles going up and down in this test tube, right? So when I was little and was a little child, it was completely full of these bubbles and there was nothing else in it. But over the years, we start to get a load of crap in the bottom of that test tube. And that crap, if you like, this black sludge that's in the bottom of this test tube is what I call, there are three things. So I, left to my own devices, have what I also call my washing machine brain on fast spin. You've probably heard me talk about this before. This washing machine brain on fast spin is when you are sat there and you're lying in bed, or you can be on a train, or you can be in the middle of a board meeting, you can do anything, and suddenly, that bastard did that to me. Or when that happened to me, that was, and it's just like this whirring in your head of things that make you anxious. And I've worked out, with the help of my recovery and all of the work that I've done and all of the courses I've done, that tends to exist of three things. The first one is resentments. The second one is fear. And the third one is what I might have done wrong and I feel guilty about. So basically, the best way to put it is what that bastard's done to me, what I'm frightened of, and what I've done to them. Okay, so, you know, so you've got your resentments is what the person's done to you. How dare they? Why did they do that? That's awful. They shouldn't do that. The fear can be anything. So fear tends to be one of two things. Either me not getting what I think I ought to have, so somebody not giving me respect, I didn't get that promotion, I've not got the house that I want, or losing what I've already got. So, you know, I'm about to lose my house because I can't pay my mortgage. That'll give me fear. I'm going to lose my boyfriend. That's going to give me fear. My husband, should I say, I've got a boyfriend. Or somebody's going to die. That will give me fear. So those three things, resentments, fears, and things I've done to other people that will come back and go, oh, God, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Those are the things that will keep us awake at night. If anybody would agree with me, give me a thumbs up or a heart or something. But those are the things that tend to, everything that we can get worried about or anxious about tends to fall into one of those three categories. So, if we can do something about these and either eradicate them or take the power out of them so that they diminish, then we're going to have much more inner peace. You know, we're going to feel peaceful. We're going to feel at ease with the world. And that washing machine brain will just be going round nice and gently like it should do. It's not going to be a fast spin like this. Okay, and then we can be happier. We can be freer to do the things we really want to do because it takes up a lot of energy. So tonight we're going to work on one of the first ones of those. So that's resentment. So we're going to have a look first of all at what a resentment is, what it really means, and then how we can do something about those. Also what it does to our health and our weight, how it affects our weight and our health, and then what we can do about it. Okay. Hi Scott, I can't see all the time without putting my glasses on, so you'll have to excuse me. If there's any questions, I will come back to them later. So what is a resentment? So a resentment, the actual word resent is a French word. It means which means to do again, and sent is feel, re-feel. So it's something that we're going to keep re-feeling over and over again. So it's not something that we think about so much, but it actually does give us a physiological feeling. So I might be walking down the street and that somebody cuts out in front of me and I think, oh, you bloody idiot, you know, I'm rushing, and they nearly knock me off the pavement, right? So I'll think about that straight away, and at that moment it'll give me a feeling. But what if somebody says to me later on in the day, what happened to you this morning? And I say, oh God, that stupid woman pulled out in front of me in the street. It doesn't make me feel any different. I might recount the tale to somebody, but it's not going to make me go, God, that bloody woman, you know, it's not going to really get me inside. Whereas a resentment is when it makes you feel an emotional change. So it's like something that really hurts you. And when you think about it, it's almost like re-going through it again. And, you know, it's like often they are justifiable harms, things that people have done to us that they shouldn't have done, and we're justified. Terrible things that people have done to us. They could have caused us a lot of financial or personal stress. Or even sometimes they can just be a really small thing that's really got to one of our buttons. It's pressed one of our buttons and it's got us absolutely wound up. Or it can be a drip of things. It could be one person that seems to manage to just press our buttons all the time. And then what happens is we are looking for it. We're looking for that behaviour all the time. So we're making it bigger. So we're re-feeling it almost on a continual basis. I'm going to give you two of my resentments. I was thinking about them tonight too, that I could talk to you about, and I'll go through about what I did with these after. But I had two resentments to my mum. I did a list of resentments, which is what I get my clients to do. They go through and they write a list of all their resentments, right back from being a very young child in the playground right up till now, so that we can go through them and we can take the power out of them. And the first one was when I was a teenager. It was at the stage, now only people probably over the age of 40 will remember this, but we used to, jeans those days were Wranglers, Levi's, there might have been another one, but they were basically mainly Wranglers and Levi's, and they all had like stitching down the sides that was orange stitching. The pockets had orange stitches on them. I don't know, give me a hearts up if you can remember these jeans that had orange stitching down them. We didn't have black jeans, they were all dark blue with orange stitching, and it was like mega cool, mega cool, and they were bloody expensive. And I remember my mum at the time, there was 4 of us at home, and she had this idea that she'd save a bit of money by making us all, sewing us jeans, okay? So she got to the sewing machine, and she was a pretty good seamstress. She got to the sewing machine and she made us jeans. Well, of course, she made them in the way that a normal pair of trousers would be, where the seams are on the inside, you know, rather than having that double seam on the outside of the jeans. They had no pockets on them, so they didn't have the W for the Wrangler and the Levi's. You know what it's like when you're a teenager, you've got to have the in stuff. Well, this was the beginning of branding then. Levi jeans and Wrangler jeans, and it was like this orange trim was like a brand statement, and you either were in it or you weren't. And she made us wear the worst thing about these bloody jeans as well was that they were elasticated waists. Now, don't get me wrong, there has been times in my life where I have been very grateful for elasticated waists, let me tell you, but this was not one of them. I was about a size 8. And I was going to the school discos and I just didn't want to go. I just remember feeling so resentful to my mum that she was making me wear these jeans and she just didn't get it. And I was just terrified because I'd been bullied at school anyhow, so it was just another thing for them to bully. I can't actually remember whether they did bully me or whether I even went to this disco. I can't remember, but I can distinctly remember these orange jeans that everybody's wearing and the mum making these jeans for us. And I was so resentful to her for such a long time about that, you know, forcing me to wear these bloody jeans. That was one. It's only a small one, but it had a real effect on me. The next one was my mum, is that my father committed suicide when I was 12. I've talked about this on here before. And when he did, 2 years before he died, he said to me, Amanda, promise me that you will look after your brother and your stepmom when I'm gone. That was a massive thing to ask a 10-year-old child. Can you imagine? But I remember thinking, oh my God, I'm amazing. I'm so important. I must be so good because he's asked me to do such an important job. And then when he died, he committed suicide 2 years later. My mum took revenge on my stepmom, who had been my childhood babysitter. And she decided that she was going to get her own back because my dad no longer was there. And she stopped me from seeing my brother and my stepbrother, or my half-brother, and my stepmom. And I had a massive resentment. And she did cloak it under, in her way. She thought she was doing the right thing because there'd been a few arguments with my stepmom. I'd come home really upset once from seeing her, and she said, right, that's it, you're not going anymore. But that really had a profound impact on me because I had made a promise to my dad who was no longer here, and I couldn't live out that promise. And I had a resentment for years to my mother about that. Absolutely, it used to eat me up. So those are 2 resentments that I had that I'm going to talk about as we go through, and how I actually managed to diffuse those resentments so that I can think about it now, and actually I can smile. I'm smiling now as I'm saying it. I'm laughing about it, but I swear to God I couldn't when I started this process. So let's just talk about how they affect our weight loss and our body, because resentments are one of the very biggest causes of stress. And in prehistoric days, when we were less cultured, if we had a resentment with somebody in our tribe, or certainly in another tribe, we'd just have a fight. We'd physically harm each other. We'd get it out of our system, we'd have a fight. But we don't do that now, okay? Because we are much more cultured, and we can't go round in the office just punching somebody in the face because they said something that upsets you or you don't like what they've done. I mean, it'd be great if we could sometimes, but we can't. So instead of actually getting out that resentment in a way that may have resolved it very quickly and got rid of some of that angst in us, we keep it inside. Okay, so that stress builds up, and it causes not just our thoughts and that washing machine brain, but it also which disturbs our mental well-being, but it also changes our physiology of our body in huge ways. So I'm just going to go through with you the physiological changes that happen when we are stressed. And bearing in mind that resentment is one of the biggest stress, and it's what we call a chronic long-term stress, which can be the worst. So a slow stress, and I know you might think a break of a relationship is not a slow stress, but in the grand scheme of a lifetime, it is. Because usually it happens within a 12 or 18 month period. It doesn't feel the same, but resentments can build up. So that tube of happiness that I told you about at the beginning, over time, you just get more and more in it. So the stage where you've got so much sludge in it that there's no room for any bubbles, and we have to get rid of that sludge to enable the bubbles to sparkle again, to give us that peace and calm and that absolutely lovely, serene, happy feeling. Okay? But if we're full of resentments, we can't do that. And the more resentments we've got, the worse it gets. So the long-term effects of resentments, because they mimic a state of chronic anxiety. And our natural stress response is meant to help us react quickly. So we'll go in and we fight, yeah? And it works like this. So we perceive a threat. This is our resentment. Somebody's upset me. That's a threat to my pride, feelings, family, home, money, love life, whatever. It is a threat. A resentment is a threat. Somebody's done something to me. And it works like this. So stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are released, and your heart and your blood pressure go up. Glucose is then released to be used quickly as energy, plus there is some fats that are released as well. And our muscles tense up for a quick response because it's like, right, I'm ready. Come on then, bring it on, bring it on. And you'll see men doing this when they've had a few drinks in the pub. You'll see that physical reaction where everything goes, the face goes red, they go, right, bring it on, the muscles tense. Okay, but when there isn't something to physically respond to, Because in the very first instance, when this person did whatever they did to you, you might very well have ended up fighting them. But if you are re-feeling it, resent, and it's just a feeling and there's nothing there in front of you. So when that happens, it becomes a norm, it wreaks havoc on your health. So people who hold on to grudges report higher rates of the following than those who don't. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, decreased immune efficiency, increased heart attacks and strokes, chronic pain, muscle tension, inflammation, headaches, digestive problems, sleeping problems, weight gain, lower metabolism, high blood sugar, memory loss. It goes on. So, holding on to those even justifiable hurts can also deteriorate the brain tissue in areas responsible for self-control and emotions. So that self-control is when we say, oh, I've got no self-control over food. These resentments are even helping that. And it wears down your immune system, which can mean that you can even more susceptible to things like cancer. And I've recently had 2 people, very, very dear people from me in my life, get cancer. And I believe I can almost pinpoint the exact problem in their life that caused them into being massive resentments over one person, where both of them were feeling it day in, day out and repeating the same thing over and over to me all the time. She did this, she did that, she didn't do this, she didn't do that. And lo and behold, within 6 months, they both got chronic cancer. And I don't think that is in any way a coincidence. I really, really don't. So, but how can it trigger weight gain? Okay, well, when it's released, when cortisol is released, when we're stressed, it promotes fat storage. So I'm going to read this out so I don't get it wrong. This is from some of my training. It releases free fatty acids for you to quickly use as energy. And when you don't use those fatty acids, cortisol very kindly ensures it's deposited into your abdominal tissue. And this abdominal fat is the one that's associated with many diseases. It's also considered an active tissue, which means it responds to stress by welcoming more fat. So it's going, come on then, you come over here, little one. And this belly fat or this tummy fat also has special cortisol receptors. So there are more in these fat cells than anywhere else on the body. So these resentments trigger a chronic stress response in our bodies, which promotes fat to be stored in the most dangerous and hardest places to lose the weight. It also tells your body to replenish your energy levels quickly because you need them to fight. So even if you didn't do anything, this makes you hungry. So you go, I need to eat something. So you crave unhealthy, high sugar, high fat foods and you overeat. And then this junk food triggers that, I've talked about before, this happy hormone in your brain, dopamine it's called, to decrease this tension. And it helps to create or reinforce that cycle of food addiction that we talk about all the time and stress eating. Well, the cherry on the top of the cake is that actually it breaks down your muscles and lowers your metabolism. And muscle is really good for many reasons. A big one is that it does increase your metabolism, which means that you can help to fight weight gain even when you're not exercising. And there was a study from the Ohio State University that said that women who experienced stress within 24 hours of a large meal burnt 100 fewer calories, so 100 less calories, less fat, and had higher insulin levels than women who were not recently stressed. So if you can imagine that 100 calories over the period of a year, anybody can work that out for me to get a blue piece of badge. So over a period of a year, 100 times 365, well, 36,500 calories, and 3,000 calories is a pound of fat. So if you can work out how many pounds of fat that is, that would be wonderful. My husband's sat over there, but he's actually got his headphones in. He's a mathematician, but he can't hear me. To make it even worse, it enlarges the size of these fat cells. So it makes them go from baby fat cells to grown-up fat cells. And once they are grown-up adult fat cells, they can't shrink again. They are always wanting to be full. So they're trying to fill up with fat. So how can you see here that if someone hurt you, they're now making your pants tighter and raising your blood pressure? So they're not hurting themselves, they're hurting you. I always heard this thing once that said that resentment is like drinking the poison yourself and expecting the other person to die. Because it's not harming you. They're probably not even thinking about it. Half the time, they don't even probably know they've done it. They are oblivious a lot of the time. But yet, you are going through it over and over again. What shall I say? What shall I do? If I say this, will they do that? You know, how can I get my own back? How can I get revenge? And it is just literally killing you. Actually, literally killing us. Cancer, heart disease, weight gain. So if you can see that, what can we do about it? Well, we can forgive. Ta-da! Okay, forgiveness. Oh God, she's gone all like what religious on us and everything. No, I haven't at all. But forgiveness is classed as an active process in which you make a conscious decision to let go of negative feelings, whether the person deserves it or not. And that's the most important part. Because most of us, when we hold a grudge, think, well, they deserve that grudge. I'm not going to forgive them because they don't deserve to be forgiven. But forgiveness is never about the other person. Forgiveness is about you. It's about freeing yourself up from that chronic thinking that is holding you back from having your best life, and that is making you ill and contributing to you not losing the weight that you'd like, or contributing to weight gain. It's not about the other person, and most people think it is. So let's have a look. What is forgiveness? So what forgiveness doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that you have to reconcile with somebody that you've got a problem with, or even have to speak to them. It doesn't mean that you condone or you forget any bad behaviour that they've done to you. You know, even if, for example, it was something that was like illegal and you were pressing charges, it means you have to, because you forgive them, you drop the charges, because that's the result and the consequences of their behaviour that they need to have to ensure that they can grow and maybe not do it again. So it doesn't mean that you have to stop pressing charges or condone or forget their behaviour. It doesn't mean you have to tell the other party it's okay to treat the way you feel like they did, because that would be wrong for you. That would be like people pleasing and being a walkover, and that's just going to contribute to your stress. It doesn't mean staying in an unhealthy relationship or trusting someone who's clearly untrustworthy. It doesn't mean any of that. Okay, so what does it mean? It means letting go of the feelings of revenge. Releasing those negative thoughts or any bitterness towards that person. And it's a self-caring practice, because it's not eating them, it's eating you up. It's the biggest love that you can give yourself. It sets you free, not the other person. They've still got to deal with the consequences of their behaviour in whatever way that might be. You're still not speaking to them. You're still pressing charges. You're still, whatever you do, whatever the consequence of that, they're going to go through that. The universe will make sure that that happens to them. But what it does mean is you're setting yourself free. You are taking control back and not giving them any more of your precious energy. Now, I remember, I think I might have talked about this on a fears one previously. I actually remember Charlie, when they were talking about, the French thing, when that person in France came near the newspapers and shot a load of people. And it was called Charlie, and everybody had red, white and blue on their profile. And I remember them doing a interview with one of the women that had lost a child in that. When I say child, this was an adult child, but it was still her child. And they said to her, so what do you think about the killer? And she said, well, I completely forgive him. This was within hours of this happening. I was staggered. And she said, I completely forgive him. And they went, sorry, what do you mean you completely forgive him? How can you forgive somebody who's just murdered in cold blood your child? And she said, I completely forgive him because he's stolen already too much from my family and my serenity. And I'm not going to let him have another minute or ounce of my precious energy. And I thought, wow, that is so powerful. And that is what true forgiveness is about. True forgiveness is about not letting the other person keep robbing from you any more than they already did when they did the initial thing that's eating you up, because they don't deserve it, and it's not hurting them, it's only ever hurting you. So it can take time, and it's something that you need to work on. So it's like building up your forgiveness muscles, yeah? But we can all do it, and we do get better over time. Old people tend to be better at it than younger people, I think more because they've had a lot of life experiences. And they've also made mistakes of their own, and they've got that understanding that everybody makes mistakes, we all do. So, you know, if we can provide other people with forgiveness, then maybe they can give us forgiveness back. And sometimes people want to extend that forgiveness into letting the other person know, I now forgive you. But often they don't, and that's also fine. It's very empowering, and it's a fabulous medicine, okay? So how do we forgive? Well, in my Bariatric Success Solution program, we work on anything that may be a cause of stress, distress, or disturb our eating patterns and our weight loss and our emotions. And resentments, fears and harms are a big part of this, and I work through with them in a way to empty their tube of happiness of sludge and all the gunk, so it can be full of bright, shiny, effervescent bubbles again. And that's quite a big process. I can't tell you how to do that on here. If you want to do that, it's the most liberating thing, and you would do it if you were part of my course. If you want to be part of my course, let me know later, and I will reach out to you. It's by application only. I don't take everybody, and I only take so many people a month due to the intensive nature of the course. So let me know if you want to apply, and we'll see whether it's a good fit for you at all. Okay, so then. Right, okay, what was I going to talk to you about that? So how would you do it? How would you do this? Well, the first thing that I would say, my top tip is don't avoid it. Deal with the issue quickly, because the longer you keep it going, the more it will fester inside you. Allow yourself to process it, confront the person if you feel you need to, or even better, write them what I call a no-send letter. So it needs to come out. The more it stays inside, the more it will increase your stress, your cortisol, and it will eat you up, and it will make all of that worse. Somehow it needs to come out. So if you don't feel that you can talk to the person, excuse me, there's somebody at the door. Excuse me, Peter, there's somebody at the door. If you don't feel you can talk to the person face to face, then write them a no-send letter, at which sometime in the future you might decide you want to send to them. But I always do that. I get it out, exactly how I'm feeling. Write it out first, because you'll get some clarity on it. And then another thing I always say is try to get some coaching or talking therapy to help you work through these resentments. That's a really good thing, because other people will see it from a completely different perspective to you. Excuse me, Bella, shut up. Other people will see it as a completely different perspective to you, and maybe able to help shed some light on things that you haven't thought of, and that really helps. Tell yourself you can forgive, and you will. I'm a big believer that if you believe something's possible, then it will be, but if you believe it's impossible, then you won't let go of it, you know. What I do is I write them down, and I try to find some empathy. That doesn't mean I have to like the person. It doesn't mean I have to like the situation. But I try to think about it from their side of the story. So why might they have been doing that? So if you look at the one about my mum with the jeans, my empathy there is that she was poor. We didn't have any money. There was 4 of us at home. There was only one job, one person working. We didn't have enough money. Now, she could have made me go without completely, but her way of fixing it was, right, I've got 4 young kids to put through school uniforms, jeans, everything else, trainers. What I'm going to do is I can't make the school uniforms, I can't make the trainers, I'm going to make the jeans. And she thought she was doing me a favour. Now, when I'm nagging on and on and on at her, she couldn't do anything else. She just literally didn't have the money, you know? And when I thought about that, I thought, actually, I feel like I need to not just forgive her, but I think I need to apologise here, you know, for actually giving her such a hard time. Because now I'm an adult with children myself, I completely get it, you know, but I didn't then. And I've held this resentment for ages. Now, so that's just having some empathy, looking at it from their side of the story, or their childhood, or events that led them to treat them the way they did. She was doing the very best that she could. Considering the person's mental state at the time can also be helpful. So if somebody, for example, has stolen from you, you know, I always say, unless it's stolen shed loads of stuff or emotional, personal things, I find that very difficult. But, you know, money and things, I always think, God, you know, they must be really desperate. They must be seriously desperate to have to go to all that risk to steal from me. They obviously need whatever they took far more than I do. And that's quite a hard place. It took me a long time to get there. But that feels quite empowering because it's a way of giving. And giving always makes us feel better. So instead of getting angry at them, I go, okay, you can have that with my blessing, because you obviously need it more than me. And actually, I'm insured, so I can get it back. It's not such a big problem. I feel desperately sorry for you. I wouldn't want to live in your life. And the one about my mum with my stepmom, you know, I had to look at this from an adult point of view and go, hang on a minute, how would I feel if my husband had gone off with my babysitter? And I had to keep that inside for years while he was alive, because of my daughter, to try to make it happy and comfortable so they didn't fall out, to make life easier for me. And the minute that he died, she'd gone. She'd held this resentment for that long against my stepmom. She'd gone, right, now you're having it. Now I'm in control. You're not having any more of my daughter. You know, she wasn't thinking about the effect it had on me. She was so consumed with her resentments and getting revenge for her resentments that it wasn't about me, it was about her. And that is what you can do when you let a resentment carry on for years and years. You can harm other people that you think you want to protect in the pursuit of your revenge for your resentments, which is exactly what she did to me. My other top tip is focus on loving yourself. Okay, so if you can give forgiveness, whether someone deserves it or not, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. It's real self-love, because you are stopping them taking any more of your energy. And your energy and your life and your time is precious. Very, very precious. So be kind to yourself. Don't let them have any more of you at all. Finding stories of great forgiveness, like the Charlie one's really good. You know, going finding stories of forgiveness can help as well. Now, if you've got a gripe and you need to vent it, we all need to get it out in some way. If you need to talk to it, find a trusted person, get it out, and then park it. Because the more you go round talking to more and more people about it and getting their ideas and them going, oh yeah, that's awful. Oh God, yeah, I remember when my daughter did that to me. You become justifiably resentful. And with all the will in the world, we always flavour our argument from our side. Always. They always say there's 3 sides to every argument. His side, her side, and somewhere in the middle. And, you know, we'll flavour it, and then because we flavour it, people agree with us, and then that increases the resentment. When we're trying to let go of it, we're actually increasing it. We're strengthening our resentment muscle instead of our forgiveness muscle. So do that, vent it, get it out. Ask somebody who's trusted, can you help me to put some sort of context on this? Can you help me to think about it from the other person's view? Because I'm so wrapped up in it, I just can't do it. I can't see it. Because then they're helping you to see the other side of it, rather than investing more time in what you are beaten up about. And actually increasing your resentment. That is the last thing you want. So usually the person that sides with you and sits and listens to you is the last person you need to go to with a resentment. You actually need to go to somebody who's a bit harder with you, or go, hang on a minute, no, sorry, no, have you thought about it this way? That will free you. It might not make you feel good in the short term because they're not agreeing with you, but agreeing with somebody who's got resentment never helps them, because it just increases the resentment. And regardless of whether the person that they've got the resentment against is correct or not, getting rid of the resentment is the main thing that's important. And the biggest part for me is to find a way of being thankful for it, for that experience. When I turned my thoughts away from, why is this happening to me as a victim, to why is this happening for me, as in terms of what can I learn from it? How do I need to grow from this? How can I handle something similar next time? What do I need to do? For example, if I'd had a burglary, okay, why is this happening for me? So did I have the doors open? Have I got good enough locks on the doors? Have I been a bit lackadaisy leaving my handbag lying around? You know, what can I learn from it? What can I learn? Those resentments I had against mum, have a bit more compassion. Understand other people's points of view a bit more. Try to see it from their side instead of always seeing it only from my point of view. So, you know, we can learn so much. So it's like, okay, this has happened for me for a reason. There's growing point in everything that happens to us. Absolutely everything. There is a lesson in everything that we can take from it. So take the lesson from it, use it to grow, and use it to nourish yourself rather than spending your whole time beating up the other person and going over and over in your head. Okay, that's me for tonight. Thank you for those of you that have stayed with me for the entirety. If you've got any questions, I'm just going to go back through now and have a look and see if anybody did have any questions. Roxana's watching. Hi everybody, I love you, call me. No, I don't think I'll be doing that, Jagat, but lovely, thank you for the offer, that's really kind of you. And hello to everybody who was there: Jeanette, Antoinette, Nicola, Babs, Natalie, Roxana, Alex, Laura, Becky, Arlene, Jagat, Melinda, Jono, Arlene again, and Tracy. Thank you for being with me tonight. And anybody else who might be watching it on replay, if you want to get in touch with me for some support with my bariatric success solution, let me know. You can private message me or message me on Newleaf and I will get back to you with more details. Take care, have a fabulous week, and I will see you next week for, oh gosh, what have I got there? The next episode of Bariatric Mindset TV. Take care, have a lovely week, bye.